So Dan, let's pick out a podium. Who are you going to curse today for this first 20-minute race?
Well, it's we're gonna see how we're gonna see how much of a shambles this first race can be. But yeah, rolling start it can open up bit of action into turns 1 and 2. But yeah, I mean, we had Hawk was on pole, like top three weren't that far off. So I'll go with Hawk to be his first race winner, but pretty closely followed by Lightbody. Not the most exciting prediction in the world, but I think that's what I'll go for.
Well, the cars are all the same, so overtaking will be difficult, but with this being touring cars, a little bit of argy-bargy is more permitted here than it is in, say, Formula 1, for example. So expect drivers to have elbows out and trying to maybe barge their way through into better positions. But keep an eye out, I think, for Joe Manning. He had some very good pace in that red and white CBA Team KRO entry. So he could be one to keep an eye on here in this race. See if he can make up 3 places. But we're away on the rolling start. So the cars will try to line up 2 by 2 as best they can. And then we'll be away for a 20-minute race. Not entirely sure off the top of my head how many laps that will be. But at the front, it's Harkima in the white Neon Falcon racing car on the inside. Tom Lightbody in the Big Pete EcoTune Team Eurotech car on the outside. And it'll be green when we get to the start line, which is about now. We are green and underway for the first race of FRS Touring Cars as we come down towards the first corner. We're 3-4 wide in the background in the midfield. It looks like Harkima's got a great start. It's all pretty clean so far, but the run up to Drew Owen at the back, that's Soros the wrong way and off into the gravel. So the first spinner is Soros in the Sebia Team KRO entry. That's Booth and Brad Spitt having a fight with each other there. But it's all fairly clean up towards the front. Harkima, Lightbody and Joe Manning has got up into 3rd position in the red and white Sebia Team KRO car.
Yeah, so good start from the front the front row. Like you said, we had Hicks going off at the tail end. Sorry, not Hicks. Crabtree, sorry, off at the back of the field with Soros. So yeah, not a good start for those guys at the back. But yeah, clean racing up till now.
Yep, it's all clean. We've got a few drivers having a look, but not really an overtaking spot around this area of the track. But look how close they're all able to follow each other. The 2 Ice One racing cars here are nose to tail. And up towards the front, I think that's Chad Bradley a bit further up. Look at the state of all of this. There's so many cars nose to tail. That's MJ Povey ahead of us in the Tesco Team KRO entry. But it's Harkima who leads, and he's got quite an advantage over the 2nd place car. That's
a good scrap of P5 at the moment.
And there's contact. That was contact between Bradley and Hofstedt. They both got away with it, but now we've got all sorts of action here. Both of the Ice One racing cars are getting involved, and it's almost 3 wide as we come down towards Paddock Hill Bend.
Yeah, so very a bit of a gap opened up on the exit clearways, but it was quickly shut off as we see them going into Drury's here side by side. But yeah, just managed to get away with it. Yes, they lost a little bit of time, but nothing, no harm really done between the 2 drivers. But yeah, as expected, touring car racing, action all over the place. So I was just mentioning that Elliot Hicks was having a good run on McDermott, but it looks like Hicks is now becoming the cork in the bottle, because we've got Oscar Sunner and Booth behind Hicks here as they go down the hill and into Hawthorne Bend.
So Harkima is already 1.3 seconds clear of Lightbody, and in touring car terms, that's a lot. It'll be a lot of work for Lightbody to try and catch that up. So those 2 looking clear. Manning and Acton are close together, and there's a bit of a gap back to McDermott in 5th place. This is the fight for 6th we're watching between Hicks and Sumner, with Buffonius and Williams just behind.
Williams just ran a little bit wide there, coming out of Sterling's and down into to Clearways and Clark Curve, but nothing really lost. Just a little bit wide off the exit curb, but has managed to keep his place in 9th place. But yeah, look at the timing. As you said, it's light body 1.3 off the lead at the moment, and yeah, action all the way down the field here. I'm just trying to have a look at if there's any good battles happening up and down the field.
We've had a couple of cars off the circuit. There's a fight there. That's between Sumner and Hicks, and Sumner has forced his way through in the Team Eurotech entry. He's now ahead of the Only Clowns racing car, the black and green and blue entry there. Hicks losing out. Unusual overtaking spot there down at turn 3. But Hicks seems to be struggling. We've now got Buffonius and Williams straight on his case.
Yeah, so like I said, Hicks was having to go at McDermott only a couple of laps ago, but now he's getting bullied around by the other drivers around him here as they come down again into Hawthorne Bend. But managed to keep position now on P7. We'll see if he can try and settle himself down, or whether he's carrying an issue, or maybe the setup's not quite to his liking here. But yeah, he said all very civilized so far. A little bit of not too much argy-bargy, but a little bit going on between the drivers.
But a few cars off towards the back. Castleman, Parker have been off. I think Hofstede's been off the circuit as well at some point. But this is the major fight on the circuit at the moment. Williams and Hicks. Williams throwing it down the inside, thinking better of it, into Clearways. That is the name of the final corner, isn't it?
It's, well, sort of, yeah. Clark Curve, Clearways.
There we go. I know what I'm talking about. Up at the front, light body is making progress on Hakim. He's found about 0.3 of a second, but keep an eye on Joe Manning here, who is right up behind the Big Pete EcoTune Team Eurotech entry. Manning on the move. Fastest lap of the race.
Yeah, so it seems that things have settled down for everyone up front. So yeah, starting to really get into the rhythm. Like you said, Hawks. You did have almost 1.5 second lead at the moment, but light body is closing that up. It's now down at 0.9 as they're running away through the first sector, and
there's Hicks going wide, and that's going to let Williams through as this fight continues. And now Booth's getting involved as well, just behind. Elliott seems to be struggling a little bit.
He does. Like I said, I don't know whether it's a set issue, whether he's just not happy with his race setup. As Williams has a little look down the inside, but nothing going. But Hicks has got a good overlap on Oscar Summer here, coming down to the right hander. They drop down, and there's a little bit of contact.
This is close stuff. They're going to go 3 wide into Dingledell. That's never going to work out. Hicks is on the inside here of Williams. And now Booth in the All-American car. Williams is wide and on the grass. 2 corners to go in the lap, and it's now Hicks, Williams, and Buffoni as the order. Just behind this is Brad Spitt and MJ Povey, just keeping an eye on proceedings, maybe hoping for a little bit of fortune to come their way. But it's worth checking up with these two, because Manning's looking down the inside of Lightbody into Paddock Hill Bend.
Yeah, you got the overlap coming down the start-finish straight, and he looks like he's going to finish the move off going to the Druids. So that's so Manning's he's been setting the pace the last couple of laps. Yes, they've lost a few tenths to Lightbody through battling, but given Joe's pace currently, I don't see how he won't be able to catch Hawk here as they come through Surtees and up on the back straight.
I think we've lost one of the Ice One cars here. They were showing us much closer than they were on the track, but I'm just going to the replay here, but I actually think this is just an error on my timing screen. So we're now watching a replay for nothing, so apologies everyone for that. But a chance to look at a fetching livery anyway of the Ice One Racing entry. Meanwhile,
Hicks is definitely corking a bottle here. He is we had Oscar Summers dropped him by 3 seconds on this in one lap alone. So Hicks is definitely struggling here for race pace. It's he's what, he got what, 4 or 5 drivers at least behind him. So yeah, he could get a freight train if he's not careful. As we see Williams go down now the outside, going into clearways. It'll be a brave move to go all the way around the outside. I don't think Hicks will let him do that. Although he might get the switch back coming on the start finish straight. But yeah, Hicks managed to maintain his position for now.
Great racing between these two as we come on to what is the 6th lap of the race. And Harkima's dropped everyone. He's 2.5 seconds clear of the field. There's a little mistake from Williams. That's going to allow Buffonius to go down the inside into Druids. Booth getting the move done. So that's how much you've got to be on your game here. You're trying to take one place, then you make a small mistake, and you lose out. It's pass or be passed.
Yeah, we'll see. Oh, there's been a contact there. Booth's been turned around by Williams going into the surtees. There was a little bit of a late lunge from Williams, and he didn't quite go far enough down the inside, or turn far enough into the corner, I should say, and caught the rear quarter panel of Booth, and Booth's lost out heavily there. He's dropped all the way to the back of this race pack. That was behind Elliot Hicks.
Well, Hicks has got a benefit. You can see the gap that Hicks has been able to build up on this little gaggle now. That is Spit, Povey, Williams, Bradley in there in the Chess.com racing with Guinness entry, the black and white car, and that's Callas as well, the Finnish driver, just at the back of this little gaggle of 5. Williams is all action today.
Yeah, there's a lot of action going on. Like I said, from P7 downwards, but looking back up the front, light body is it's just well, I was just going to say almost hit the fastest lap.
Well, they gained half a second on Harkima. I'm not sure if Harkima made a mistake on that lap, but that 2.5 second lead is now a 2 second lead.
Yeah, so Marlin has just chipped away a couple of tenths in that last lap, but Lightbody was the one who was looking the fastest out of the 3 of them. So whilst Joe looked like he had the advantage, now that he's got in front of Lightbody, it almost seems like it's roles reversed. And that's a bit of a psychology as a race driver. Some drivers prefer to be the chaser, and some prefer to be chased. So yeah, it looks like Joe's kind of stalled out a little bit. He is catching the hawk, but not quite as quick as we saw earlier on.
Well, it's 1.8 seconds now, but Tom Lightbody doing a good job here to just stick with Manning, the American driver ahead of him, and these two are kind of working together to try and bridge that gap to the leader. The car behind us at Denny's has been dropped a little bit, and then in P5 we have got McDermott, who is kind of cut adrift. He's a little bit on a race on his own at the moment, although not quite as bad as Sumner in P6, who is sort of 3 seconds either way. So we've got 8.5 minutes to go in this opening race of the FRS Touring Car season, and it's been good fun so far. The 2 Ice One racing cars are now nose to tail and fighting it out. You can see Williams just up the road there fighting with Chad Bradley. And yeah, Williams is... It's certainly been the easiest place to point the camera if I've needed to see some action. That white and yellow CBA Team KRO entry. This is the fight to watch though. Fight for second place. Gap to Hark at the front is still 1.8. But this is a great scrap between Manning and Lightbody. You see Hark's wide there, kicking up all sorts of dust at the exit of the left-hander. And that gap that was 1.8 seconds is suddenly looking a bit closer than that.
Yeah, it certainly does. I think Lightbody's just is quite happy just to sort of sit in the back of Joe Manning here. Whilst it might be quite close, because I've been watching Lightbody. He's not really been, as he just makes a mistake himself. He's not really been sort of threatening into any corners when he has been close. I don't know whether he's trying to work with Joe to try and catch up the Hawk. Obviously, we saw Hawk having a run wide out of Surtees and has dropped down just shy of 1.2 seconds on the timing screens. But as they come around into clearways, we'll certainly find out the the new split time as Hawkers went wide again, coming out of clearways.
Yeah, needs to keep his concentration here, does Harkema. That gap that was 1.8 seconds a lap ago is now down to 1.1.
We've got a yellow flag coming out of...
That looks to be car 2. That's Booth again.
Booth. Yeah, so Booth's had an incident.
And would you believe it, the car ahead of us is Williams. It could be that those two have come together. We seem to be losing light. Williams has gone wide there at the exit of Dingle Dell. And they're going to try and go 2 into 1 here. And, oh, well, did Booth leave enough room there? And then, oh, into the back of them goes the Ice One racing car. Very, very clumsy, that one.
Yeah, so obviously Booth just tried to swing it around the outside, going into Sterling's. Williams had obviously run wide through Sheen Curve. Dingledale's just before that. But yeah, it looked like he just tried to sort of swing in from the outside, and I suppose Williams could have been a little bit tighter to the apex, but I think Booth probably could have given it just a little bit more room in that regards. Here's
a fight between the Cult of Pleasure car of Kevin Nordermere, and just going through that is Chad Bradley in the Chess.com Racing with Guinness entry. Looked like he'd just been off the road previously at that car. But there's Williams letting Booth through, I think, is what we caught the end of there. We're going to go back to that fight for second place because Tom Lightbody has got through on Joe Manning.
So it looks like Manning's going to try and maybe try again, come down in the paddock. No, he's going to stay behind. Lightbody's ran a bit wide, so that's going to give a potential overlap coming up the hill into the Druids, but Lightbody shuts that off and Manning's forced to go around the outside. But yeah, these two scrabbling. Was 1.1 seconds to Hawk, and it's now dropped to 1.8. So these two are kind of squabbling over second place. That it's just not quite allowing them to get up to Hawk at the front of the field. But yeah, obviously these two are sort of fairly matched, fairly well matched on pace. There's not been much to separate them over the last few laps.
Yeah, like you say, it is just allowing Hawk to build up that cushion that he had a little earlier in the Neon Falcon racing car. Led from lights to flag at this point, but we're not at the flag yet. We've got just over 4 minutes to go here in the opening race. And then we'll be reversing the top X cars for race 2. There'll be a short break while we do that. But wow, Manning cutting a lot of the corner there, the inside corner at Dingle Dell. Fight at the back between Ty Crabtree, who we've not seen a lot of, obviously being towards back of the field, and that's Major Castleman as well. Those two were fighting. There's a bit more of a gap between a lot of the cars now. This tends to happen as you get towards this later phase of the race, but that's of course the advantage of these short races. We can just stop and start another one. Gap at the front, 1.2. Hawk has lost 0.6 of a second again somewhere, but it looks even closer than that, doesn't it? This could be a three-way scrap for the win with just over 3 minutes to go. That's going to be a couple of laps, I would say. Oh, and Lightbody's spun round. He's lost the back of the car. He's going to come across the circuit. It's a disaster for Tom Lightbody, who's now... Oh, no, that's not the rejoin we wanted. That is not the rejoin we wanted. McDermott into the wall, and the shambles have arrived in the Touring Car Series.
Yeah, that's a bit unfortunate for Lightbody, but inexcusable for his rejoin. He should have really been knowing that there was a driver coming down the down the straight there, out of Graham Hill. But both of them seem to be able to carry on. Obviously, quite a lot of damage on McDermott's car. It looks like that damage is severe enough that it's going to he's kind of running off the road here. Getting out of the way of the driver, so I think that's Connor's race done, unfortunately.
That's really unfortunate. It looked like, because Actonese went to the left, it looked like Lightbody maybe thought that McDermott would do the same, but McDermott stuck to the racing line, and you have to say that Lightbody basically just, it was an unsafe rejoin back onto the racing line, and you can see the damage on that car. That's MJ Povey behind, so that's for 8th place, I think. McDermott now down to 9th, so there'll be a couple of laps of racing to go here, with Harkema having just started a new lap, but McDermott's just going to have to try and coax this thing round at the end, but he's so far off the pace now.
Yeah, it's showing that he's currently 17 seconds down on that last lap to his previous best. So this is just basically try and get the end, but I think he's definitely gonna fall out the top 12 for potentially try and get a reverse pole. So is it Bradley who's currently P12, and yeah, McDermott's pulling off here. It's outside the Druids. I don't know whether he's had enough.
I mean, the car's not in a good state, and he's going to pull to the inside of the circuit here, just trying to keep out of everybody's way. And Conor McDermott is unfortunately going to be the first retirement of the season. It's really not much of his own fault, none of his own fault really. Very, very unfortunate there for McDermott. And now, what I don't know is, from a stewarding perspective, whether there'll be any penalties or anything before the second race, whether it's clear cut like that. But this is the race for the win. We're going to have, I think, 1 lap to go here. And Harkema's under pressure all of a sudden from Manning.
Yeah, Manning's looks like he's half a second up on Hawk on this lap alone, and yeah, it's going to go down to the flag. So one more lap to go, and it's 0.3 of a second. So this is the closest it's been since the start of the race. So
Harkema's led this whole race, but can Manning steal it from him at the death? He's going to go to the outside as they come to Druids.
Yeah, it's a brave man to be going all the way around the outside, but if he can hold it out, he can get the inside into Graham Hill, but he can't. So Hawk's going to keep the lead. There's a little bit of door banging there coming in the entrance to the Druids, but yeah, Joe looks like he's got the advantage here. He's got Hawk in a little bit of pressure as they come down into circuits. There's a yellow flag as they go into the in the left-hander. So the track map isn't showing any.
McDermott that's lit up in yellow.
Yeah, he's back in the pits now though. So those yellows look like they might be outdated. But coming down hill, going dropped here into Hawthorne Bend again. Joe is catching right at the back of Hawk. So yeah, so half a lap done. Hawk's still in the front, but it could be all changed.
Is there a chance? Is Manning going to throw this down the inside? There's contact, and Hawk is round. He's going to recover.
He's going to recover, but can Akdinas get up into P2 here? Because Hawk will have a little bit of dirty tyres as they're coming down into the left-hander Sterling's. But yeah, Joe has managed to get it on the last lap as they come down into Cleaways.
Out of the final corner, perhaps controversial, but nonetheless across the line to win the first race of FRS Touring Car Championship is Joe Manning for CBA Team KRO with Biorad. Manning wins from Harkema, who led the whole race up until about half a lap to go. Comes home in second, and Gurkan Akdeniz in the Beamaroo World Rally Team entry comes across the line to complete the podium. Tom Lightbody is fourth in the end, but is almost certainly going to be subject to a steward's inquiry and a big yeet for Big Pete into turn 1.